Purdue got beat by number one seed a couple years ago. It happens, man. It was just Styles' turn.
Hey, and you're right. And when St. Peter's happened a couple years ago, that was Kentucky's first dose of that. Uh, Kansas, Bill Self lost to Bucknell and Bradley back to back, I think 05, 06. Then turned around and won the championship in 08 when he beat Memphis. So you can come back from it.
Virginia bounced back too.
Virginia bounced back and won the national championship the following
year. Yeah, because they were the first number one seed ever to lose to a 16. Y'all right. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a trend, man. I will say this though. I will say this, man. At the when you were talking about the Sweet 16, it was a few people. I saw some shirts that had Fire Calipari on it, walking around the concourse, man. It was heated, boy.
Man, you UK fans are crazy, man. My thing is, he's the best thing that happened to Kentucky since Patino. You know what I'm saying? Tubby, you know what I'm saying? It was inherited. But, man, Cal has turned the program around, brought y'all to national prominence, and now y'all just ready to kick him to the side because he's not won a few games in the tournament. It's just UK's turn. You know, it is what it is, man. It goes in a cycle. Everybody has a down year. I mean, it's just UK's turn.
Man. You can't talk logic when it comes to that. That makes sense. But you know it, and you can't, and it's not gonna
happen. and I can't say I was saying fire him, and they got the big Cal and Mitch TV exclusive coming up at 7:30 on BBN tonight, so we'll see how that goes. It's not gonna be a real press conference, but they're gonna get interviewed, and so we'll see what that's like in a little bit. But I wasn't saying fire him, but I'm also, you seeing a lot of people, well, you got to ride with him. Well, you do, because they bring him back. But as Coach Truck knows, I'm a lifelong Dallas Cowboys fan. And so every year I'm like, look, they got to show me, because it's been a minute since we've even been to the NFC Championship game. Went a long time without winning a playoff game. I'm like, they've had some good teams. We let Eli Manning and the Giants wild card team come in. We had home field. They knocked us out a couple times. So the Cowboys got to show me. I'm to that point with Cal. I'm not saying last ride. I'm like, man, you gotta show me. You've lost it. You gotta show that you can get it back. Don't be cutting corners. You said all the same stuff. You know, let's go. Let's physicality. Let's see it. And unfortunately, we got to wait until March again to see if any changes happen.
Let me drop this, because y'all the UK, experts. I'm not a UK expert. I'm be the first one to tell you. I just live in Lexington, so I follow the Cats. Now, the way this kind of been rolling, before the tournament, they said UK had the big news. They were going to do this NIL thing to make it the premier NIL destination, correct? You remember that they did report this, right?
Uh-huh.
I want to make sure I'm getting my facts together. Did you remember hearing that, like, shortly before the tournament? They said Cal was working on this NIL. I don't know if you want to call it a collective or whatever, that they were going to make UK the predominant NIL destination, or the best NIL destination.
Mm-hmm. Trying to get on par with everybody else and get it together. Yeah.
So, okay, that was right before the tournament. My thing is, I think, and Cal knows, man, a lot of people act like Cal's not a smart coach and he don't know. I think he knew that it was time to bring them back. You know what I'm saying? He always kicked them out. You know what I'm saying? He almost ran players off. And I think he kind of saw that he needed to bring them back. But being who Cal is, he had to make sure he could pay them. So they set up this NIL thing. I'm not going to fight for sure. I wouldn't put money on it. But I think at least Reed's coming back, because I think he's got the best chance coming back. I think Wagner should come back because he didn't light anything on fire. And I think if he can get the kids to come back, I think it's always been, if he could have them for another year, man, what a team. You know what I'm saying? So that's my conspiracy theory.
Weird.
Two things. Why would Reed come back if he's going to be a top 5 lottery pick? That's one. Well, three things. I've heard rumors about Dillingham and DJ getting into it in the locker room during the halftime of the Oakland game. That's all I'm hearing is just rumors right now. So
I think it was him and Burks. Dillingham and Jordan Burks is what they were saying.
I heard it was Dillingham and DJ. But anyway, to go back to the way Cal builds his teams, you have to go back. When Cal is at his most dominant, he has a dominant big man. You go back, you look when he first came, he had Cousins. They were dominant. When they won the national championship, Anthony Davis, they were dominant. When they had Carl Anthony Towns, and Willie Cauley-Stein, dominant. So the times Cal has not had a dominant big man, his teams are being good, but they haven't been dominant. So Cal has to go find a dominant big man to play with the guards that he has, and he hasn't found that dominant big man in a few years. So I think that's where the problem lies. But
yeah, and
that's why he's my basketball man. Oh, this dude knows basketball.
Hey, and you look, man, you can't. It's hard to argue with that when you look at the bigs this year. How 7-footers they was getting pushed around.
Now they'll come back. Though all of them kind of coming back. Do we know if they coming back?
You know what I call that 20. I call that 21 feet of nothing.
They were too thin, too light, man. It just, the Gonzaga game, layup.
They have no
2-footer,
There's no defensive presence there. There's no low post presence where, okay, you come to the rim, I'm gonna foul you hard, I'm gonna block the shot. Or on the opposite end, give me the ball, back to the basket, and make a move. Everything was face up. You know what I'm saying? There's no dominance there. And Cal's always had a dominant big. When Cal has been a great coach, he's had a dominant big man.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. It's hard to argue that. This offense, they could light it up, but they couldn't stop anybody. We see what Carl put his comment up there. Gotta get back to playing defense. They win championships, and that wasn't the case this year.
And it starts with the big man, because you getting layup after layup after layup. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's pick and rolling you to death. The layup's there because you have nobody who's back there to defend the basket.
Yeah. Is that a Ole Miss hat you wearing?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got it when I was down in Mississippi a few years ago, man. I have plenty of hats, man. So
talking about plenty of hats. Terry Brown is like Lid's most valuable customer, man.
I'm at 125 right now, so I'm all right.
125. You got more lids than I got shirts. They talk about my shirt collection.
You got your show shirt, the KY Big Thing shirt. So we gotta do something like that, Terry. Gotta get some Cat Talk Wednesday merch going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I will say this though, the Perry kid, he's nice. He's gonna be nice. And shout out to your Harlem Bears, man. The Noah kid, Trent Noah. Hey, that young man. Hey, he's nice too.
Hey, because Campbell County had him on the ropes. And
yes, they did. Campbell County should have knocked him out. They
was down 16 and got it to overtime, and they just blew him out in overtime, man.
They said it was 41-19 or something like that from the fourth quarter on or something like that.
Yeah, because you're down 16, you end up winning by 14. Yeah, you got I was scoring by 30.
That's a big turnaround.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I keep hearing some things about Evangel Christian got jobbed a little bit, man. I wasn't there to see it, but that's what I keep hearing around the city, man.
And people, I'd like to see a stat, man. Corey Price does all the stats. I'd like to see a stat of, because you played 2 games on Saturday. Then you play the final on Sunday. Semifinals on Saturday. I wonder, because Lyon County played at 11, Harlan County played at 1:30. How many teams playing at 1:30 have come right around and won playing at 6 or 7 that evening with the team with the shortest turnaround? Because there were people saying, "Well, Lyon County
we were talking about that.
They played late all the way till Saturday, then they played at 11."
It's been 3 out of 4. The first team has won. The last 4 out of the last 4, it's been 3 out of 4. The first team has won.
Right.
Because we were talking about it. We were talking about it with the GRC and Warren Central. The last 2 years, it was the opposite. GRC played first. Warren Central played second. GRC won. Then last year, Warren Central played first. GRC played second, and Warren Central won. So we were trying to track that to see how it was going. But me and Truck were talking about that as well.
And I wonder why. I mean, you think Lexington and Rupp Arena might just move it to Sunday? That'd be another day of some folks staying in some hotels and eating, and another day of revenue for downtown instead of having it Saturday night. Move the final to Sunday because you're having from Thursday to Sunday. But I mean, I don't make the rules. I'm not Julian Tackett. It's his world. We just living in it.
Well, we heard this. Yeah,
I mean, you get more. Yeah. I mean, stretch it to Sunday, you still get. You still have two teams. You still have 2 teams down there staying and eating in hotels, especially if they're not from Lexington. You still have.
But I guess what they want to do, they still want to keep everybody in the city. You know what I'm saying? Especially the losing teams or whatever the case may be. But I've heard, the costs are opening back up the doors again for a new day. It costs. It's a pretty penny. So that's what I've always heard.
So say that
they used to do it on the Sunday. They used to do it on the Sunday.
Okay.
Up until about 8 or 9 years ago, they used to do it on a Sunday. So
say that money making kids play 2 games in a day. Okay.
They give some of them kids some of the NIL money that they're making.
Yeah.
Hey.
Right. Now the girls, I'm gonna switch back to the girls because Sacred Heart has won their 4th in a row. They're from Terry's home city of Louisville. This time next year, are we talking about a 5-peat, or is there somebody that's going to jump up and get them?
Now, see, they lost Reagan Bender, and they're losing the big girl.
They still have Johnson.
Gaia is probably maybe one of the best players in the nation. She's a monster. You know what I'm saying? They play, and actually, I think the point guard that started in the championship game is a freshman. And we talked to Coach Moore. She's real good. She's a friend of the program for real. She's really excited about the youth coming through her program. She likes that group as well. So I don't know, man, but I think if Sierra Byers is healthy, can come back healthy, GRC is going to be a real threat because transfer portal's open in Winchester.
Hey, but the transfer portal's open at Sacred Heart too.
Well,
too. And Takaya is that. She's that. Hey, you got her. Yeah. You got a chance. You know what I'm saying? Now they played. Who was it? Marshall. Who they played in the championship game again?
Was it Cooper? No.
Nah, was it? They played them. They played them 2 years in a row. My mind's blank. So this is the second year they played them in a row. So I don't know. Maybe they got a chance too because they pretty much bringing everybody back as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it.
Well, but there's some.
I'm taking Sacred Heart versus the field.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that old Tiger versus the field. I got you.
And man, I mean, shout out to Coach Moore. She went over 800 career wins, the first coach to win 4 in a row, Women's History Month. And like O said, she's one of the few coaches that has won one playing and coaching. Man, this woman is a legend. Real.
Yeah. You gotta take your hat off to what they're doing, man. And everybody else it's like when the Warriors was your head and shoulders above everybody else. It makes everybody else you gotta close the gap. You gotta get to where they are. or else you just wait for them to come down, and you can't do that. You got to try to climb up there with them, and that's what everybody's got to do with Sacred Heart now.
I just don't see, in my opinion, I just don't see any program in the state of Kentucky right now is even they're head and shoulders above everyone else right now. Right now, it just is what it is, man. And they have the best player that's probably ever come out of the state of Kentucky. So I don't know how you combat that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Truck said GRC with Byers, and they have a good young nucleus. But even still, you know what I'm saying? Sacred Heart beat them twice within a month and beat them bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
but they didn't have Byers though. You know what I'm saying? And all the games were kind of close. I mean, I sound like a fan now. You know what I'm saying? But they were close. You know, for like the first half. But then it's just too many horses, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, man. I love watching them. I tell you what, man. Watching high quality girls basketball, man. When we get to them Final Four games, man, those are some of the best games I've seen in the state.
And y'all would know, man. Y'all would know. So just tell everybody what y'all do for those that don't know, what y'all do, how y'all cover high school, how you got started, and where they can find you and everything.
Man, we started, actually, we're going on our 6th year. This will be year 6. We started, me and Coach Bew, we used to coach youth league. Ozon has been around too. He's been part of the youth scene, and he's been part of Lexington sports scene long time. And, Bew had been having some health issues and stuff, and I've been doing stuff. And was always like, man, hit me up. I want to help. I want to do this. And I thought I sent them a text, and I thought I had him in the text chain because I had a little group of guys I would text, like I'm doing this game. If I need some help, they would show up, whoever showed up. And was like, I wasn't getting them. Ever since I put him in the text chain, he been there. So shout out to man. We live stream high school sports, middle school. We've done youth league stuff. I'm taking a little break right now because I'm wore out. And then we'll start doing some baseball and softball, man. But,
okay.
We hit the basket, man. This was probably since O came on. I always kind of consider, me and Bew always said, we was a football. We love football, basketball, yeah. But man, I've enjoyed this basketball season more than anything, and I want to give a shout out to O because man, this dude, he teaching me everything I need to know. I'm picking me up a dirt bowl team here pretty soon. I'm exposed to championships.
Man, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So take a little break, much deserved break, and then a little diamond action, baseball, softball, and then it'll be football time again before you know it. So
yeah. And then we do our summer stuff. Like I said, we've been live streaming dirt bowl games, which is like the summer tournament. And shout out to O, he's helped grow that. We've seen a lot of the young talent, like the young Amari Owens, probably one of our brighter players out of Lexington. He played in the dirt bowl, so we got to watch him grow in that dirt bowl. He was like newcomer of the year, and then like will tell you, man, he just blossomed in this season in basketball. So basketball is gonna be interesting next season, man. It's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about them Louisville teams though. I can't speak on Louisville. They seem to keep choking. Having problems in the tournament.
Hey, what y'all think about the new U of L hire?
What you think, TB?
Good for them. Good for them.
College of Charleston.
I mean,
they had to
look. All I got to say is I've said it forever. Everybody thinks their job is the best job until you have to get a coach for it, right? Everybody thinks that. Why wouldn't somebody come to my team? And I'm like, ain't nothing more humbling than a coaching search. Yeah. I'm like, look, man, Kentucky people have told us no, right?
Yeah.
Billy Donovan twice, right?
No, 3 times.
Yeah,
Billy three times.
It was 3. It was 3. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
He did it before Tubby. He did it after Tubby, and he did it
before Cal, right?
Before Cal. So he's done it 3 times.
Lute Olson has said no. Like we've had coaches that say no. They're like, no, we're gonna look, man, you are not going to get Brad Stevens. You are not going to get these dudes that you think that you're going to get. So, but good for them. They found somebody that wants to be there. So good for them.
Oh, one more thing.
He ain't going to be Kentucky, so it doesn't make me the whole bit of difference.
Well, one more thing. It goes, and I'm going to run this back to you. You know what I'm saying? People keep saying fire Cal, but who do you get to replace Cal? And somebody said, well, get Bruce Pearl. Bruce Pearl hasn't won anything since he was a Division II coach.
And like Terry said, they the same age.
Yeah.
You know, he acts a little younger than Cal, but he's 64, 65 his own self.
He's older than you think because he was assistant coach at Iowa in the early 80s.
Yeah.
You remember he had that run-in with Illinois and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was in Division II.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So the thing is, if you are going to replace your coach, you got to have a plan. And at Kentucky,
I don't think they have a plan right now.
Yeah, it can't be, we'll figure it out. No, because I don't want to praise Duke and Carolina, but at least they had a plan.
Right.
And
they had somebody on the bench.
At least you've got a continuity plan. Like, if Hubert didn't work out, if John Shire didn't work out, then we do something else. But you just can't let a coach go and then figure it out. These ain't the jobs for that. Because then you end up like Indiana. You know, a lot of people say, you know, Kentucky's going to be the next Indiana. No, Indiana's problem was Bob Knight left, and they hired 4 coaches that weren't very good.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, after running off Kelvin Sampson, but they had a bunch of bad hires. Yeah. That's how you end up like Indiana.
Yeah.
I would if I'm Cal and I'm going to clean out because I'm hearing he's going to have to clean out the coaching staff. What I would do is I would go get a Jerry Stackhouse, put him on my bench. Jerry, let's work together, and this is going to be you after I leave. I think Jerry Stackhouse is a heck of a coach. I do. You just can't win at Vanderbilt. You can't win at Vanderbilt. So if Stackhouse wants to stay in college, I would get on the phone. Hey, Stack, come get on my bench. You know what I'm saying? I'll teach you what I know, whatever the case may be, and we'll roll with that.
But my problem with Cal is who's his coaching tree? Like, what is he doing on his staff to empower those dudes to – because you see other coaches –
they've all been fired.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
RB Bruiser.
Right. You look at all these other
Antigua.
Yeah.
Great coaches. You know, Chris Collins, he's got Northwestern winning tournament games, right? Because he's assistant coach at Duke, and Jeff Capel at Pitt. Like, but Cal does, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like he is. And we saw what Kenny Payne did.
Giving them autonomy to
right.
The only person he gave autonomy to.
That's a good point that y'all made. I think that's a good point because Payne, I think the biggest thing with Payne was he didn't have that, I don't know what you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Like he just couldn't handle the situation. He was just messy.
Awareness. He had awareness.
It was like he had never been in that spot. You know what I'm saying? And you would think he would be a little more savvier than he was.
Yes.
You know, handling them situations coming from Kentucky. So it's kind of like you saying, Cal need to, you know what I'm saying, give him, like you said, more autonomy or something.
And he's very much like Bill Belichick. You look at Bill Belichick, it's like he's the only one with the secret sauce, right?
Yeah, that's a great
comparison. All his assistants have been bad to worse, right? It's not like, you know, Bill Walsh, where you can look at the Bill Walsh tree. All those dudes won Super Bowls, right? You know, you look at
Bang Bang.
Yeah, you look at John Wooden. You know, Denny Crum was assistant. Like, but you look at Cal, he doesn't have that, whatever it is, and I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but it's pretty obvious at this point.
And and we're to wrap up. We got our next guest coming, but it's almost like, you know, everybody talks about when Robick left, and it's almost like he's been kind of propped up in ways, and then when everybody leaves, he's the only one that's the common denominator. You've lost it, and can you get it back? I hope he does. I'm not real confident.
Get some dominant big men.
Yeah. But every great coach, every great CEO, you need somebody to tell you no.
Right.
You need somebody to tell you that your poop don't stink. And
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like this current staff for the last however many years, there's anybody like, I think Robick filled that role more than anything. Would be like, nah, man, we got to change this up, man.
And you think it would be Bruiser because Bruiser's been with him since UMass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You would think Bruiser would be the one who could be able to tell, hey, Cal, man, let's chill, man. We got to do something different. Or
You
I
would,
don't think
yeah,
this is right. Yeah.
you would think, but here we are. Anyway, gentlemen, I don't mean to rant and rave at you. I'm saving that for the back part of the show, Vinny.
There you go.
But Ozone asked that for it, so I had to jump
Yeah.
in.
Give him a little dose.
Hey.
Give him a little
As
dose.
long as you play emotions in the background when he's going off, just play that H-Town, play that emotions in the background.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
Man, I
Fellas,
appreciate y'all, man, and I love what y'all doing, and keep doing what y'all doing, man.
Hey, y'all too, man. Y'all too. Appreciate when y'all have had us on, and we enjoy
We'll do
y'all
it again.
taking time and enjoy your break. And we look forward to the coverage of baseball and softball and everything y'all do, man. So Ozone, good to meet you, Coach Truck.
All
Y'all
right.
keep it going, man.
All right, man. Thank y'all, man.
We appreciate it now.
KY Big Things Kentucky, Facebook, YouTube. Check them out. They've been doing it for a while. Been friends of the show for a while. Got our next guest in the BS3 Network, Green Room TV. Man, if the intro, man, by the time I finish reading it, I mean, we're going to be out of time. He's the owner of the College Sportscast, co-owns the Fanboys, writes for Stadium Rant, Greenville Sports Media, featured on WSBN TV, Let's Talk Sports, the Real Fresh Channel, covers football, basketball, College World Series, Kentucky women's basketball media member. First time joining us, but been following this man on Twitter for a long time. Talking about Brad Harvey. Brad, welcome into Cat Talk Wednesday, man. How you doing, sir?
Hey, man. What's up, Vin? What's up?
Man, glad to have you, man. Glad to have you. We've been following each other on Twitter for a while, and I saw where you Kentucky women's media member. I said, what better time than now to have you on to talk about the new hire and everything, man?
Right. Yeah, it's an exciting time for Kentucky women's basketball. So big day tomorrow. The press conference is tomorrow. And it's a pretty exciting time. There's a lot of buzz going on about Kentucky women's basketball right now.
It's I mean, you couldn't get much better of a hire considering, Kenny Brooks has been where we'd like to go. He's got a Final Four under his belt.
Yeah, Kenny Brooks was an absolute home run hire for Kentucky women's basketball. Just to give you a little bit of deep background on Kenny Brooks. Kenny Brooks played for James Madison and played for Coach Lefty Driesell.
Oh, wow. That's a name right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So he played for Lefty Driesell at James Madison from 1988 to 1991. And of course, Lefty went on to coach Maryland and coach Lynn Bias in the 80s.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I think I saw him tweet out, condolences where Lefty had passed away, but I just saw, well, that's what everybody's doing because Lefty was who he was, but I didn't know that the connection was that deep with him being a former player. Thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah. Kenny was a player for Lefty Driesell. So, that's just a little bit of a deep background on him as far as, he was the women's coach at James Madison for like 14 years before he was at Virginia Tech as the head coach. And of course, what he's done at Virginia Tech, guys, it's exactly what Kentucky would like to have in the SEC.
Yeah. I watched Virginia Tech play Iowa early this year. And Virginia Tech had bigs. They were doing things that you would love to see them do in Lexington.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he had a big girl, 6'6", Elizabeth Kitley, that is a 3-time ACC Player of the Year. And of course, unfortunately, she blew out her knee,
she
ACL,
got hurt, yeah.
the last regular season game of the year, March the 3rd or something like that. And of course, in the ACC tournament and in the NCAA tournament, she wasn't available.
Yes, that derailed their whole
You know,
thing for sure. Yeah, because
yeah, I
who?
mean, they won the ACC tournament last year. They went to the Final Four last year with her. They won the ACC regular season this year, and then she gets hurt the last game of the year, and the rest of it's history now. And now he's at Kentucky.
Yeah,
Well, and people forget that Virginia Tech was in that Final Four because it was three really big names in the women's Final Four. But you forgot that Virginia Tech
Yeah,
and LSU was pretty close until like the last 2 minutes of the game,
hmm
and then LSU kind of pulled away. But
right.
Virginia Tech
Yeah.
was right there.
Oh yeah, they played LSU in the Final Four last year, and like you said, I mean they were right in this game. People don't know, people who don't follow the women's game very closely probably don't know how just great of a player that Liz Kitley has
Yeah.
been for
Yeah.
Kenny Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're talking 6'6" guys. I mean, this girl, she is a legit post player, in the women's game.
So that's what you want to when you see this league he's stepping into, as far as trying to close the gap with the LSU's and the South Carolinas, and you got Texas coming in with Schaefer, who used to be at Mississippi State. They'll be coming into the league next year, so
Oh yeah,
that's what you
yeah, he's a
want as
great
far as
coach as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he's a great coach as well. But here's the thing that I'm hearing about Kenny Brooks. More so, I mean, he's a great coach and he's a great X's and O guy and everything else. But I am hearing that he has a system for developing players that is unlike anybody has seen for a long time. He individually sets a path for these players and talks to them individually and sets a course for them, and he treats them like he is, their second dad, the way I understand. He is a girl dad. He has four girls himself. One of them was a walk-on freshman at Virginia Tech this year. She was on the Virginia Tech team. Her name is Gabby Brooks, and she was a walk-on freshman. She didn't play much, or maybe I'm not sure if she even played at all, but she was on the team as a walk-on freshman. So there is a few players that kind of to be on the lookout. Nowadays, you can transfer, with your coach and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So, they he has a girl that's been with him 4 years that would have a COVID year to come in. Her name is Georgia. First name, she's a point guard.
Oh, yeah.
She averages
Yeah.
almost 19 a game for him.
Yeah. She's
She
cold,
averages
Vinny.
almost 19 a game
Wow.
for him.
Wow,
Yeah. She's 5'6". Yeah, yeah. Now she's been, and she's been with him 4 years, and they have a very, very close in the post game press conference on Sunday. She mentioned that he is a second dad to her.
wow.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not speculating, guys. I'm not saying for sure that's what's happening. I'm just saying that there are players like her that in today's game can transfer with the coach.
Yeah, yeah. So can
You know,
accelerate the process of getting pieces in place a little bit more.
yeah, absolutely.
You saw, I saw you tweeting. We've had Cassidy Rowe on the show back when she was in high school and back before her freshman year at Kentucky. Had her dad on, Lonnie Rowe, as well. Lonnie tweeted out earlier today
Yep.
that he'd heard from numerous people that know Coach Brooks and people that have insight on him. Not one has said a negative word about him as a coach or as a person. So, and
Right.
that's good to.
Yeah, absolutely. Lonnie, I met him this year. I got to cover. I come in right as SEC play started this year, and I got to cover the women's Kentucky basketball team this year. And I met Lonnie, after the games a couple of times. We walked out together one night, and just having a chat. Of course, Cassidy was there too, and they seem like a great family, good basketball family, and I look forward to covering his daughter more. And now we got Kenny Brooks, and it should be exciting. So
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we did it backwards, but tell us a little bit about yourself, Brad, and then a little bit about
yeah,
college sportscast and all the other things, all the other hats you wear as well.
and man, I'm a busy person. I'll be honest with you, Vinny. So yeah, I'm Brad Harvey. I do own and run College Sportscast. It's a show about like this one. We use StreamYard just like you do. Um, I write for Greenville Sports Media. I had been writing for Stadium Rant. I and My show is on WSBN TV, which is a TV channel that you can use and get it on TV on Roku, Apple, Fire Stick. So I am available on that kind of stuff as well. And I got to go to the SEC tournament, covering the women's SEC tournament, and going there was just seemed like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Just to go there and see Drew Staley and Cardosa hit the shot in the semifinals.
Yeah.
To beat Tennessee. Um, Angel Reese and Mulkey and Dawn Staley and Rakia Jackson. I'm sure you guys know some of these names as well, but I mean, going to the SEC tournament was great. And hey, my plan is I will be in Lexington tomorrow for the introductory press conference for the new coach Kenny Brooks.
That is awesome. Coach Mulkey didn't try to sue you when you were down there, did she?
What's that?
I said Coach Mulkey didn't try to sue you when you were down there with her, did she, Kenny or Brad?
No.
Okay. Right.
Hey, I was there. I was courtside when the brawl happened.
And see, that's that. Okay, let me get on my little soapbox, Terry. She's gonna say Cardosa, should pick on somebody her own size. If George Murison had pushed the girl for LSU, I'm sure Cardosa would have went and tried to confront him as well. It just happened to be a short player that pushed her player. So don't try to make it like
I'm not saying that it's right what she said. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm a little old school, and that's something that my dad would have said, you know what I mean? Like 35, 40 years ago. So it kind of makes me laugh
yeah,
because my dad would be like, pick on somebody your own size. You know
right.
what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
that's something my dad would have said.
Yeah. But I mean, she was backing her teammate, and it just happened to be a
Yeah.
little girl that pushed her teammate. So I mean, it was what it was. But
And all she did was push her. I mean, it
yeah,
wasn't like there wasn't a whole lot to it.
yeah,
The biggest thing was that Flau'jae Johnson's brother jumped the scores table. That was
That
the
was
biggest thing.
yeah, that was wild.
yeah.
And
And then he
nobody
realized,
knew, and for about 15 minutes, nobody knew who it was. Nobody knew that it was Flau'jae Johnson's brother at first.
you know, and then he
So it
kept,
was crazy, and they were bringing cops in and security in and everything because, like, after he done it, and I don't know if this was ever talked about or caught, but there was another one that tried to do it, and of course they were calling security in, and then they were trying to figure out who this guy was, and then come to find out it was Flajay Johnson's brother.
Yeah. And I think once he jumped over, he realized what a bad decision that was when he tried to step. He's like, oh well, okay, I'll just go ahead and get handcuffed and carried on
I'm
out of here
not
because
sure what happened after that. I don't know if there's. I mean, I know at first there was reported that there was going to be charges and stuff. I don't know what happened.
yeah, it was crazy though for sure. But glad to get your perspective from the courtside seat in the arena, Brad, and glad to get your perspective on Kenny Brooks and have a safe trip to Lexington at the press conference and continued success on everything you're doing, man. And we have to get you back on again sometime. Thanks for taking the
Yeah,
time
man.
this evening.
Maybe we can have y'all on sometime, kind of do a collab or something,
Yeah,
back and forth. Yeah, that'd be
Absolutely.
great.
I'm down.
yeah. Just
Yeah,
let us
man.
know. Just let us know,
All right,
Brad.
sounds good. Listen, I really appreciate the invite
Yeah.
and being on the show, guys. And man, it's an exciting time. Remember, remember that the Memorial Coliseum has been under construction for they've been renovating it. And
Yep.
not only are we going to have Kenny Brooks and this excitement with him, but we are also going to be in a brand new Memorial Coliseum next year as well.
Mhm. Yeah, gets to
Yeah,
recruit for
It's
that.
going to be so exciting with Kentucky women's basketball moving in a brave new direction. Volleyball is going to show back up, going for its 7th straight SEC championship. And don't forget
right.
about the gymnastics team, number
Yeah, the
7 overall
gymnastics team's
seed.
killing it right now.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know where my gymnastics poster is, Vinny, but yeah, I'm all cats everything, Brad. Not
Absolutely.
just
right.
not just not just basketball, not just men's
Hey,
basketball. I do
baseball team is ranked this week for the first
Yeah.
time this year.
1-4.
I got my soccer posters. I'm all cats
Hey,
everything right here, man.
Yeah, I
absolutely.
got you, man. Listen,
Absolutely.
I got you. I
Brad, man,
appreciate that.
appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for making time for us this evening on such short notice. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I had to like fit y'all in. I'm out of town. I'm not even at home. So
Hey, we appreciate it for sure, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely,
Absolutely.
Brad. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
all
sir.
right, man. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
You too.
You too. Brad Harvey, College Sportscast, taking time out of his busy days to hop on here with us. Going to Lexington tomorrow. Got to tell everybody too. We got our next guest in the green room as well. We got to talk about the Autograph app real quick. TB, look, you can jump on the Autograph app and consume all the Kentucky content that you normally would: podcasts, articles. Unfortunately, now it's going to be off-season basketball content because it's the season didn't go as long as we'd hoped. But you want to get rewarded for listening to our show? The team at Autograph, co-founded by Tom Brady, is redefining the fan experience by letting users earn points for the acts of fandom they take every day, like listening to this show. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to all your favorite Kentucky content in one place and offers rewards like tickets, exclusive merchandise, and more. You're already listening to our show, but now you can earn points and get rewarded for it. So head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph Fan Rewarded and download it for free today using referral code CATSTALK, CATSTALK. The link in the code will also be in the podcast description. Backstage is a friend of the show. We get to see this gentleman at Rupp Arena years ago. He took the picture that's my profile pic on Twitter now. Me sitting there with Johnny Juzang, courtside catching loose balls like we used to do when we covered games.
He also took my profile pic.
Hey, he got a knack for the profile pic, man. That's how he does, man. He runs BigBlueExpress.com, your express link to UK basketball. We're talking about our good friend Randy Newman. Randy, how's it going, man? Appreciate
It's
you
going
coming.
good. To be clear, my wife actually took the photos of that you all have as your profile pictures. I mean, who was an employee of Big Blue Express. So I just want to give her dues, just in case she happens to listen to this, because
Got to be clear.
Got to give proper credit to the photo
That's
credit.
right. That's right. That's right.
And I love mine. It's hard to believe it's been 5 years.
I
It pops up and it's just like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Miss Cal
Well,
yelled at me.
the crazy thing, that's what we talked about. Of course, we started covering Kentucky. Our first SEC tournament was 2014. Kentucky goes to the championship game, loses to Florida. But anyway, they had said, well, if Kentucky loses before, we'll go back to Lexington and we'll have it at Coach Cal's house. So we were like, oh, that would be cool if they did that. But then they make the championship, they lose, blah, blah, blah. Then they win the championship every year after that. And we never can make it back to Lexington for the selection show special at Coach Cal's house because they always won the championship game. And we even contemplated a few years like, well, should we just skip the championship game and go home? Because when are we ever going to be able to go see it at Coach Cal's house? And I told my wife, I was like, eventually they're going to lose before the championship game. It's going to happen at some point. And finally, in 2019, they lose to Tennessee. And so we head back. That's the only time we ever did the selection show. So It's crazy to think about the world that we were in back then. We're thinking we're going to just have to skip a championship game because Kentucky's never going to miss a SEC championship game. Now we can't get to day 2.
Man. Ooh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Ray, where are you? It seems like there's 2 distinct camps.
Yeah.
Cal's got to go, or we got to figure this out. Where are you with the state of Kentucky basketball? Because I know everybody's got their think piece, right? Everybody's got 3,000 words on their side of this whole thing, and it's worse than politics.
Yeah. Well, I can sum it up. I can sum up where I'm at in 3 words. Just win, baby. But that's all I care about. And honestly, I stayed on board. I like John Calipari. I mean, I'm a fan of his, but I felt like going into this season, this is a make or break year, in my opinion. It's very important for the future. And after, again, quick exit, I personally felt like, okay, it's time for sometimes a separation is good, helps both sides. I felt like a fresh start at a new school, if Cal wanted to continue to coach, would rejuvenate him. That'd be a good thing. It'd be good for Kentucky. But, that's beyond my control. So it is what it is. Obviously he's going to be back apparently for another year. And I'm okay. Well, let's see what you can do. I just think some changes have to be made in whether it's in his philosophy on roster building. Obviously, there's some coaching staff maybe issues, or some of his preparation. I don't know exactly what needs to happen to get back to that.
Here's my 2 cents. Well, I'm gonna give more than 2 cents because this is my show.
Yes,
and I'm gonna give more. I'm gonna give some coins too after you.
Yeah,
but my thing is it seems like when we lose an NCAA tournament, we don't play up to what we've been playing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple of moments. My wife is not a Kentucky fan, but she's brought in because of me. And there was a couple of moments against Oakland where I'm like, oh, Dillingham getting ready to cook.
Yeah.
And he passes right back to Reeves. And at some point in the first half, they're going to the bench, and Reeves is looking around like, I'm going to have to do this myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to say Dillingham's not a good player, but Reed Shepherd, his first shot can't come with 5 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah.
But we saw this last year with Reeves going 1 for whatever. We saw it going back to 2010 when those guys So I don't know what it is about those games where our shooters aren't shooting. Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm frankly tired of losing to dudes that are going to be selling insurance next year.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing as a Kentucky fan. I'm not championship or bust, but like I told Vinny when we first started, Randy, I was like, I knew Oakland wasn't the California Oakland, but I didn't know where in Michigan it was. I still don't know where St. Peter's is.
No.
I used to laugh at Bill Self because Kansas, like Northern Iowa, I'm in Iowa, can't tell you what Northern Iowa is, right? Bucknell, right?
Yeah.
You know, I can't lose to these teams. Losing to Indiana here in Des Moines in 2016, that sucks.
Yeah.
But okay. Losing to
yeah.
North Carolina in the Elite Eight, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even Auburn, because at least Auburn has a Charles Barkley, in their history, right? Like,
right.
But these dudes, what are we doing, man?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You feel like you don't see them play like Kentucky. I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than, we've seen for so many years of our life, whether that was us watching Kentucky under Rick Pitino, watching them under Tubby Smith, watching them under John Calipari for the majority of his time, they step on the court with that level of players that they're facing against Oakland and just overwhelm them, where the other team doesn't look like they belong on the court. Yeah. And we have a look of panic or fear. And I'm sure, people say, well, there's a lot of pressure and there's going to be more pressure next year, but still those teams in the past had a ton of pressure on them too. I don't know.
And I hate to say, play for the name on the front because I think that gets overblown.
Sure.
But it's this personal pride. Like, we are not losing to Oakland.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
no.
And we will remember, and I don't think it's romanticizing, but Kentucky was a tough out. Right. Like, and we're not that. Like, there's no fear. And that's what's killing
there it
me.
is.
Winning the layup line. We don't win the layup line anymore. Teams would talk about, man, they came out there in the layup line, and I looked at them, and I was like, oh my gosh,
and
we don't do that.
I recounted this story. Vinny, you remember we had Anthony Epps on forever ago, right?
Yeah.
Talking about which I never made the connection, the dots between that LSU run, 94, 95, 96, right?
Mm-hmm.
94 is the comeback, right? 95, they beat them by
a lot. It was 129 to something.
Right. So Anthony Epps is talking about we go to Baton Rouge in 96 and they are ready. They are hyped. And he's like, before the first TV timeout, they're like, yeah, we don't want to do this. We ain't got it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And it's not that you have to be a championship team. Also, what I'm looking for is we got to have a player.
Mm-hmm.
We got to have a dude that sets that tone. It doesn't necessarily have to be the most talented dude.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be a big dude. Y'all remember when we were covering and Tyler Ulis, the player, we'd get there early, right? People be shooting around, asphalting around. Ulis would come out different. We haven't had that. We've had great players, but this is I don't know where you go from here.
Yeah, you mentioned Anthony Epps, and I was thinking the same thing. He tweeted out right after the game. You said, Brandy, I think nobody fears us. He said, speechless after this one. As a former player, it stings that no teams fear us anymore. And that's it. Because and this came from the top down, from Oakland, from Greg Campy on down. We're glad that we got Kentucky. Of all the 3 seeds, we felt like we matched up with them the best. We know that, we like our chances. They don't score in the post. And at the Tennessee game, nobody scored outside the guard. So he clearly watched that game.
Yeah.
They said what they said and didn't pay the price. And then come out and get on the floor and lead for 95% of the game. They talked that talk and didn't get punished didn't get, we didn't take it to them at all. Like y'all talked about how look, you remember the 96 team, how they just devoured Tim Duncan. Just made mincemeat of all these teams. The clip where he's like quadruple teamed and he's like, oh my God. I still remember that picture. Can we get it back? Chris Fisher said it. I don't. Am I confident that he can get it back? I don't know. He's lost it. Can you recapture it? We gotta. He said all the same things Monday that he said in the past. It sounds good, great,
Sure.
but will it be any different when it's time for things to be different? I don't know. Yeah, we got to move on because he's coming back. They're on right now. Him and Mitch are on TV right now talking about it. But I'm a Cowboys fan. I said this while you're out, TB. My Cowboys have to show me. Haven't been to a Super Bowl since '96. Haven't been to an NFC Championship game since then. They got to show me. They've had some good teams get to the playoffs, flame out. They got to show me. I'm at that point. I'm not firing him. I'm not gung ho ride with him. But Cal has got to show me he can get this back.
Yeah, Cowboys are in the. I thought the Cowboys after the season would fire their coach. I was sure. I told my buddy, Cowboy fan. I said, "Well, they're going to fire."
I was on. I wasn't fire Cal.
Similar situation here.
I wasn't fire Cal, but I was McCarthy. Got to go. I was.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is, as a Rocky movie franchise fan, I equate it, and I felt like I saw it against St. Peter's, and I still feel that way, that at some point Cal lost the eye of the tiger, you want to call it. I think it's, let's see, is it Rocky 4? He's training, or maybe it's Rocky 3. Anyway, he faces Clubber Lang. Anyway, Rocky's training. He's got all they're videoing him, watching him, like it's a big party. He's working out. You got Clubber Lang, who's like, working out in, doing pull-ups on some pipe somewhere. And I just feel like that Cal doesn't have the same grit or whatever that helped get him to this point that he had at UMass, that he had at Memphis.
Cutting corners.
People can say whatever, the swaggy, whatever, any of that stuff. I don't care. You've got to at some point,
cutting corners now.
Yeah, you can't cheat it.
They talked about, was it Dan Hurley? He just watches basketball all the time, and European League and Argentina. This trying to learn and glean and then Cal's not. It's not that. You got to go home and walk the dog. Got to walk Palmer and whatever. But
But I think a little bit of that is unfair because dudes have to live their lives, right? That's part of it.
Yeah.
But my point would be is at some point we have seen this with every coach that's at one of these jobs for 15 to 20 years, right? There's red hot, they cool off, they get it back. Like, Roy Williams, at Kansas, at North Carolina, there was a dip. We have to remember Coach K had this dip.
Yeah.
You're gonna have it after 15 years, right? But the thing is, I always thought that Cal's thing was he wanted to rub elbows with Coach K, with Roy Williams. There's no one really for him to kind of rub elbows with anymore.
No.
Which in some ways kind of should make it the
You
challenge easier when you see all these other dudes roll out. Okay, now I'm the big dog on this block. I should.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what you would think once Coach K's gone. Yeah. That opens up something for Cal. Oh, Roy Williams is gone. I mean, that's what but it's like instead of that, you've got this other crop of guys that's, they're not going to just get behind you and say, well, let's get behind Coach Cal. They're going to run over you.
And the thing that frustrates me the most, because Cal's going to be okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Cal leaves this year, next year, in 15 years, we'll bring him back like we brought back Tubby, like we welcomed Joe B. Cal's going to be fine. My issue, and I was talking about this with the missus here, is for Kentucky, for you to be a Kentucky legend, you have to have some hardware.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, because of the last few years, Oscar's not going to be remembered as well as he should be.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Reeves, not as well as he should be, right? Like, and that to me is unfair to them, but I get it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm a Lakers fan, right? We don't care that you made an all-star team. That is not what we do here in LA, right? Like, you have to be in the Hall of Fame to retire your number, like that. So I understand that as a Kentucky fan, but I'm like, Oscar deserves to be in that pantheon, and he won't be with only one tournament win.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfair. It's unfair to them.
Look at the freshman year Reed Shepherd had. Everybody, how excited everyone was, and Reed so great. But if that's it for Reed, unless he does surprise us or whatever, and some people, whatever, if he comes back next year, then he has a chance to maybe change that. But no one's going to remember Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham, really. They're going to say, oh, yeah, remember when we had those guys and we lost to Oakland? Look at them now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too. We got all these NBA All-Stars, and it's like, we should have – and now he's giving credence to his critics. That's the thing is, it's a legacy thing at this point. If he'd have walked away after year 10, was it year 10, 8, whatever it was, when the Cavs or whoever was come calling, if he leaves after 2015, he's golden, man. Like, hey,
well,
but now it's like,
he's Rick Pitino. That's what I was telling. If you take Rick Pitino starting their runs, 92 Elite Eight, 93 Final Four, 94 they have a blip, losing the second round. Elite Eight, 95, championship 96, championship game, loss in 97. Take that with Cal's 2010 Elite Eight, 11 Final Four, 12 championship, 13 blip, NIT, 14 championship game loss, 15 nearly undefeated Final Four. Those two runs were as good as you could have. But Pitino is remembered now, although, he's had plenty of other things that have people are not a fan of him necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But he's remembered because he ended at a peak. Yeah. So, people are like, well, man, if Pitino had never left for the Celtics, he would have won 5 championships here. Well, let's be real. First of all, Pitino would not still be here. Like, if he had never left for the Celtics, there's no way in the world Rick Pitino makes it that long at Kentucky. And he would have he wasn't gonna be on a uphill plane forever. But Calipari was on that. He's went down. So now his legacy at Kentucky has to a degree been tarnished when he had the chance to cement himself. And if he's back next year, then he still has the chance to cement himself as the number 2 greatest coach in UK history. But he has to, that's on him.
And that was my whole thing when he came. Like, okay, we're not going to have the NCAA stuff because I think we're that's fine. But I'm like, if you're Coach Cal in 2009, right? You're like, I get to go to a blue blood, right? I get to revitalize a blue blood. Now, all the stuff at UMass, all the stuff at Memphis, that's page 2 in your biography.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's this. So you get to 2015, you have, and I don't know if you saw Justin Rowland's tweet was talking about what Cal did for the program. I don't know if you all saw that.
I did see that, yes.
But my whole thing is not growing up a Kentucky fan. I didn't, but I changed my ways. On the outside looking in, Kentucky was always good, but Kentucky wasn't always cool.
Right.
And like I said to Justin, it's like you had the Doctors of Dunk in Louisville. You had Phi Slama Jama, right? You had Tark the Shark at UNLV. You had Hoya Paranoia. And that whole stretch, Kentucky's just beating everybody,
Yeah.
But it wasn't really until John Wall, I know Rex Chapman, a big deal
Sure, but
in Kentucky, but nobody that was like,
wasn't a transcendent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
until
John Wall. John Wall. There's a strong case, and we won't get completely derailed, but that he is the biggest recruit in Kentucky history, just because he completely changed almost forever the way Kentucky was viewed.
Yes.
And I think that's So Cal did that. Yeah.
And that's the point I've tried to make was Kentucky is cool now.
Yeah.
More than just we're going to beat you. This is where the cool
you
people
want
want
to be. You want to be us. You want to be Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw more Kentucky stuff in the city of Louisville since Cal's taken over than I did the entire time growing up. Places you wouldn't think Kentucky stuff was.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, because when I went in the 90s, it was I'm like this trying, but now I'm like, it's all over. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm very Vinny. I've been cutting you off. My bad, Vinny.
I was just talking about how y'all said every coach goes through it. I was before our time, but I think I was listening to Tom Leach. I think he was talking with John Clay. Joe B wins it in 78, and then the early 80s get a little rocky. 80 and 81 and 82 is kind of forgettable. Maybe there's great players, but the fan base isn't. Those teams aren't beloved, kind of like what we're going through now. And then, you get 83, lose to Louisville. 84, you go to a Final Four. So he was able to kind of reel it back in. And this next to last year, he goes to that Final Four, which should have beat Georgetown. That's one of like the first tournament games I remember watching. They should have beat that team. So that's kind of where Cal is at now, that crossroads of red hot, like Terry mentioned, gotten sideways and gotten too comfortable for whatever it is, cutting corners. And now can you regrip and steer it back to recapture what you've done?
And the thing too is, if you pull the trigger and get rid of Cal, you have to have a plan in place. Like, you can't just say Cal got to go and we figure it out. Because as we talked earlier, Vinny, here I am giving credit to Carolina and Duke. They had a plan. Now, we didn't know if it was going to work or not, but you have to have a plan. It's like a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You can't just let one guy step down and then we just figure it out with somebody. That's how you end up with Billy G.
Yep.
Right? So and I'm not saying that Cal is the only guy that can do it here. I'm not saying that, but you have to have a plan. Because the lesson to be learned from Indiana is not that the fans stopped caring. And I hate that, well, we'll be Indiana because people don't care. I'm like, what Kentucky fan doesn't care about losing?
Yeah.
What Indiana fan, have you talked to Indiana fans? They never stop caring. Nebraska football fans never stopped caring. The problem was they hired 3 or 4 bad coaches in a row. That was the problem.
Yeah.
Right? That's the lesson I'm trying to tell people is like, yes, you look at Alabama football. Bear Bryant, Nick Saban, 1A, best coaches ever.
Yeah.
There's like 25 years in between them.
Yeah.
And you can rattle off all those names. Dennis Francione. Like, you can just, Mike Price for a day or two. Like, so, I have no doubt that Kentucky basketball will be good post-Cal. My fear personally is like, I don't want to go through 10 to 15 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
Do you want to have another Billy G followed up by another Billy G? Because that's 4 or 5 years of just look at our neighbors in state.
Yeah. If Mitch didn't, and so I give some credit to Mitch, I give a lot of credit to Mike Pratt and his crew for saying, look, Mitch, you need to call John Calipari and you need to hire him. After Billy G, you make a bad hire after Billy G, who knows? We're sitting here just happy we were making the tournament and looking for somebody to get us to the Sweet 16 or something, but we didn't go through all those good years. I mean, or we're just trying to make the tournament.
Yeah.
So, I think that one poor coaching choice is not, but it's the second and the third. That's where you get into Tennessee football and
the hire,
basketball.
the hire that follows the hire. Like you don't want to be the guy that follows the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I've said, Randy, right on the money. Is like any program can have a blip, right? North Carolina had Matt Dotery. We had our Billy G. Yeah. You can survive a blip, but 2 blips, now you're 4 or 5 years from your peak.
Well,
right?
And we were really lucky with Billy G, honestly, that he completely crashed and burned, because I've made a case. Let's say Tom Crean. Let's say Billy G loses that game to Louisville. They don't beat Louisville in the NCAA tournament, and I'm completely convinced that if Texas A&M didn't beat Louisville, I'm convinced Billy G's never hired here. And let's say we're like, okay, look at Tom Crean at Marquette. We're going to hire Tom Crean. Well, look what Tom Crean would have muddled around in mediocre success for 5 years, kind of like what he did at Indiana.
Right.
And then you're in trouble. So I've often said, Billy G crashing and burning in 2 years was actually, we were lucky that was so clear.
And he was still SEC Coach of the Year his first year. Every coach since Rupp. And that's my thing, too, is like, there's a fine line between nobody can do it but Cal. I don't believe that.
Right.
But the opposite is you just can't pull people off the street to do this job.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like, it doesn't really matter. It kind of does.
Yeah.
It kind of does. Right? You can be a very good coach at Kentucky basketball and win a championship. Tubby Smith, very, very good coach. Would not necessarily call him great. Very, very good coach because of the natural advantages, right? Just like Alabama football. Gene Stallings did stumble into a national championship, right? But a great coach, now you're cooking with gas, like Cal, like Pitino. So I don't think you can just find anybody off the street to do the job.
And obviously I don't know what Mitch did. I think Mitch would have been a fool if he was at all considering firing Cal, or even if he's not. I mean, he obviously needs to have his list, but he should have put out feelers through back channels just to see, hey, Jay Wright, do you have any desire to coach again? What if Kentucky was open? Do you have any interest in that? To the handful of coaches that would be your ones that they're going to succeed here. And like the bottom of that list in my mind that I know would have success would be Scott Drew at Baylor, but I view him as like the bottom level of that. I think you would be getting Tubby Smith in his prime would be like, okay, you're going to compete for SEC championships. You're going to compete for Final Fours, and you have a definite chance to win a national championship. But you're probably not going to get the Pitino, Coach Cal, like just run through. But maybe you would. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. So, I think, and then after that, you start flipping a coin a little bit. Like everyone looks great on paper for a minute because it's like, oh, look what this guy's done here for this little short while. But would they do that at Kentucky? Kentucky is just a different animal. It's not normal here.
Well, and that's the part of the thing too, is with Duke and Carolina, they kept it in the family. And so I think that helps because they understand what the job is. Like, Hubert Davis had that terrible year last year, but he righted the ship pretty well. Like, and he said the right kind of things. He's doing the right kind of things. And John Shire is as well. and I hate giving those dudes credit for anything.
Yeah.
But that's something to keep in mind. The days of Kentucky just going to be able to pluck somebody to do this.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get the coach of the Knicks. I wouldn't want Tom Thibodeau anyway, because everybody's playing 45 minutes a game. And I don't want that.
I've watched a lot of Knicks games the last few years, and Tibbs will wear you out. But I mean, he does get his guys to play hard. But I don't want Tibbs.
So
man.
My whole thing is, Cal's back. I'm gonna spend this off season. I'm decompressing. Like I don't need your 3,000 words on what happened in the locker room. Don't care. I don't need. Look, like I said, like Cal's contract, it is what it is. It ain't got nothing to do with me, because I ain't chipping in on $30 million regardless, right?
No.
So why do I care?
Yeah.
I'm not going to read that, these freshmen, whatever, man. I'm just here when the games get played. Like I don't want to read anything either way, is my whole thing.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't care about you telling me that they're going to be this team's going to be the one to do it, or they're going to just show you. I mean, at some point we're to the point now, you just got to show us. Like, I'm sorry that it is that way. They can run through the season, have an amazing year, and I'll be happy that they're playing well, and everyone will be like, but everyone's going to say, well, let's see it in March. And sorry, fair enough. You're in that. That's where you've painted yourself into now. So
and that's the thing too, is I think those guys had so much pressure this season. Had they got to Sunday in the SEC championship game, okay, but losing to Texas A&M, and you can feel that.
It ramps the pressure up.
I try to be as positive as anybody. I told my wife, when Oakland started out like 1 of 10, we started out 2 of 10, and we're up by 1 point the first TV timeout. I'm like, I don't like this.
We should be up by 10.
As sports fans, there's moments where you're like, okay, we're going to win this game. I had to show my wife the George throwing that ball off Sullinger in 2014. I'm like, or 2011. I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, we may win this, right? Like, oh, okay. But conversely, there are those moments where you're like,
it's all the signs the wrong way. We may lose this. And that game was full of signs from, and I know we're all snake bit, whatever you want to say, but from the get-go, it was like, you just had this feeling like where that game was headed, and that's where it went. And what I had told someone, I said, my hope was that we could get past Oakland and get past whoever it was that we played in the second round, as Kentucky being the favorite in those 2 games. If we could somehow get through those games and get to the point where we were no longer the favorite, we're no longer the ones supposed to win, and we could finally be the ones playing with house money, then I felt like then that team maybe could go on a run. But I just didn't have faith that we could get past those games.
And that's what happened. You talk about the 2014 season. That was that thing. Because my mind, Kansas State? We played for Wichita State.
Yeah.
That Kansas State.
Kenneth ain't lying. If we had beat Oakland, we would have lost to NC State.
But have a little bit of success, right? That 2014 team finally played Florida close and lost, but it felt like it was building towards something. You get that one game out of the way that you're supposed to win, and now you're playing in blue jerseys, and that Wichita State game, the best second round game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Regardless, then it's just house money. We ain't supposed to be here, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But now we're getting
rare.
We're getting like Chuck Knobloch now. Come March, you just get the yips, and we don't know how to throw the ball to first base.
Can't make a throw to first base. Yeah,
and we got sports psychiatrists, and we just lose all sense of how to do anything and function. And it's just magnifying, because next March is just going to pile on to this past March, and Cal can take them bowling and say he can do whatever, and it's just
I tell you, it's always a bad sign. I remember Coach Cal, of course, he took them bowling. 2013, they played dodgeball. I feel like there was another season not that long ago. They did some kind of late in the season, some random thing. Anytime, I swear that it comes out and he's like, "Oh, we went and did this," it means he knows his team is not right.
But and the thing is too, because I'm getting a different perspective because the wife is a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
And she has talked about those moments where once the Cubs start getting good, right? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. It's like, it's not even that you're just trying to win this one ball game for you. It is 100 years of all that stuff. And so can Cal come in and change the mojo? Because it's not going anywhere. My thing was Cal got to go because this pressure it's not going anywhere.
Suffocating.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not fair, but these kids shouldn't have to answer for 9 and 16. But yet they do. Next year's team shouldn't have to answer for Oakland or St. Peter's.
But they will. Yeah.
And that's where you get where it's like you need something to change the juju.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, which I was almost shocked that Cal was also, I thought there was a decent chance that Cal, even if Mitch said, "We want you back," that he just says, "Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm out of here. I'm going to take this job over here, blah, blah, blah." But he didn't do that. So that, which sort of surprised me. But I was telling someone today that if I was Cal's PR man, the number one thing I would tell Coach Cal, I know he has his canned responses to everything. I mean, if you've been to 5 press conferences of his, you've been to 1,000. Because he just has his things he says, and a lot of they're good points, but he regurgitates the same things. He has got to find a way to be as candid as he possibly can this off season and this year to try to reconnect in a way with the fans that are just kind of feel like he's just full of BS. I mean, I don't know. That's not on the court stuff, but I just think it's important to try to win back some of your, where you were.
Yeah, just
But
it doesn't seem it. And sometimes he's trying to be genuine. It still just comes off to me. It's just water rolling off his back. It just doesn't. It doesn't just translate as to. He says he's hurting, but I'm like, are you? That.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a tough set because this doing sports is an emotional thing, right? It's silly, but it's emotional. And I don't think, like, again, I'm a 49ers fan, lost Super Bowl. People were upset because the players were on vacation. Like, what do you want them to do? Cry all the time?
Yeah.
However,
well, yeah, right.
I need to feel like this does matter to you. I know in my head, John Calipari doesn't want to lose. I know this. But I need you got to give me something for my emotional investment. And I think that's where a lot of fans are right now is we're going to wait and see.
That's where I'm at. You got to show me.
You want to feel like your coach is in the same boat you are. Like he is as miserable. And, some of his stuff that he has said in the past that maybe we know is just coach speak of, "Oh, this is such a great day. All these players are drafted. Greatest day in UK history." I know that Coach Cal wants to win championships, and that part of that was a recruiting pitch. But there's a ton of people that still, to this day, quote that over and over because they believe he cared more about that than he did about his team winning a championship, which whatever. I just think you've got to show that, it hurts you the same way as it does the fans.
Yeah.
But the number one thing is, like you said at the top, Randy, to bring it all back, just win.
Yeah.
That fixes everything. When Cal's doing his coach speak, for me, when he said greatest day was when all those 6 guys got drafted, and it's like, okay, well then you go to 4 out of 5 next Final Fours with a national championship runner-up. Okay. Say what you want.
Talk your talk. Yeah.
Right. But now it's a little bit different, man.
Yeah.
Like,
and
if
also,
like if you're Bill Belichick, right? He used to be, we're on to Cincinnati. That works when you're going to Super Bowls. Yeah. But when you got Mac Jones out there, it ain't getting it done, man.
Working. It hits a lot different. Yes. That's win, Julie.
Well,
we're all on the same page. We all want Kentucky to win. And that's why I tried to tell folks, the sunshine pumpers, the negative folks, we all want Kentucky to win at the end of the day. Yeah. No one is happy when Kentucky loses. Right. That's a bad straw man.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is the fans are going to keep showing up. Yep. But to me, it's still that emotional investment. Right? Like, again, sports is very, very emotional. Mm-hmm. Whether it's college or pro. And you hope that your team is trying to win. That's why you wear this stuff and you do all this kind of stuff, right? Like, again, going back to my 49ers, it sucked they lost the Super Bowl. But they're retooling to do it all over again. At least try to win. Give us something to shoot for. Don't just treat us like we're going to show up for whatever. Don't do that.
Taken for granted. Well, I'm glad we had this, and we knew we had to try to get you if possible, Randy, because
the last 2 years you all had me on right before the NCAA tournament, and I thought about that. I was like, I didn't get anything from Vinny and Terry. That's probably good though, because it didn't go well. Well, that didn't work either. So
we're trying to change the juju on our end, but
we're doing all we can.
We're doing what we can. I mean,
we're all hurting. We all want the Cats to win, and I've been a little bit hard on some of the folks because I do think we were being silly in 2016-17. Right? I think
I agree.
That was unfair. I think we unfairly remember the 2020 team, right? But 5 years and one NCAA win, one SEC tournament win. I can't even call. That's another thing. I can't even call the Kentucky Invitational because we're not winning it.
No, we're barely there. Forget who was it? Somebody put out the tweet from Cal's own book where he said when he got to Lexington, they'd only won 2 tournament games. That can't happen here. And then here he's went and did worse than that. So you're writing about the standard and not even.
Kentucky Invitational is looking like Gardner Webb, St. Peter's, and Oakland right now.
The dash of VMI.
with a little bit of Robert Morris.
Let's throw Robert Morris. We'll throw Gardner Webb out. Then we'll put Robert Morris in.
But conversely, the thing is about being a Kentucky fan. I know we don't like looking back, but one of mutuals that's a Cubs fan that my wife knows, he's a Utah Utes alumni, and he's our age. And so what I try to tell Kentucky fans is, for every dream that we realize, you have to understand we're somebody else's nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because his PTSD. His thing was, and we finally met up with him the Andrew Bogut year. Remember Andrew Bogut and Ramel Bradley? Going chest to face. Yeah. He's like, and y'all beat us then. Like, we are a lot of teams' freaking nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's part of it. So
yep.
Well, what you got coming on Big Blue Express? You got Michelle, who's just started following you. She's our #1 fan, so you just gained a follower.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Carol says she's been following for a while. Talking about how awesome you are. So, what you got coming down the pipe on the site?
I don't know. Since we don't attend or cover, we haven't been able to cover the game since COVID. I'm in a different spot than I was. I live a little more as a regular fan that also likes to talk a lot of UK basketball and UK sports. I will say I've really enjoyed my son's 14 He's become a huge sports fan, and that's been honestly the best thing about not covering all the games is I have watched so much sports with my son. We set up 3 TVs in our living room for the NCAA tournament, and we have went wall to wall. And after a couple years ago, I was like, I don't care what Kentucky does. I love the NCAA tournament. I don't care. I will sit here and force my eyeballs open, and I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to enjoy it no matter what they do. So Thursday night, Kentucky lost. I sat there till 1:30 a.m. in the morning watching all the games, tweeting about Kentucky basketball, working my way through it, and said, look, Kentucky's getting back here eventually. I'm going to enjoy it more because I'm going to sit here and watch all these games when Kentucky's not in it, and they should be. And when we're back here, I'm going to enjoy it like heck. So
absolutely.
But for the teenage kids, my son's 14. All he remembers is really Kentucky flaming out in the tournament.
Same for mine.
I want them to experience. When I became a fan, when I'm 14 and 15. Rick Pitino, it's 92, 93.
Yeah.
We're, I'm 17 years old. We win a championship in 96.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want this young generation to see what Kentucky basketball really is all about.
Absolutely. So hopefully that's why we want him to recapture it. And because my son's the same way. He was born in 08. He said, I know they won it in 2012, but I don't really remember. We went back and watched because he's 3.5, almost 4 with Anthony Davis. So he's, hopefully they can get back to, providing those same kind of moments that we, had our whole life for sure.
Yeah.
But man, Randy, thank you so much. For been a while, and we always enjoy having you. Appreciate your insights, man. Thank you so much for taking the time, and enjoy tomorrow, the Sweet 16. If you and your son get the TVs out, and
we're gonna watch it.
Just hit the couch.
I'm
and
mostly
watch
rooting against people now.
You gotta be petty.
Hey, I love hating from outside the club. That's right. Now I understand the appeal. If team's not in it, I can hate some more. Hate.
Exactly.
I hate Tennessee. Hate.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Someone said, "Well, don't you want Tennessee?" I said, "No."
No.
I said, "I want Tennessee." No way. I don't care if they lose.
Yeah.
At what point they lose? I just want them to lose.
Pulling hard for Creighton Friday night.
Hard for Creighton. Amen.
Oh man, we appreciate it, Randy.
All right, guys.
Yes, sir. Take it easy now, Randy.
All right, you all too.
So, man, TV, great guests, loaded show.
Oh yeah, we talked through all of our post Cat losing stuff, but Cal's he's back, but hey, man, I think there's some things that he has to check off.
For sure. You can't just say it. You gotta actually do it, and just talking about getting the bad taste out of your mouth. Well, we heard that 2 years ago, and you can't cut the corners. If Bruiser and them got to go, you gotta do what you gotta do if you're really trying to get it back.
Yeah, and I don't want people getting fired, but man, this is a results-oriented business.
It is.
And look, the thing is, we've had some good kids that have come through the program. We've had real good kids. We've kept our collective nose clean, which is unusual for Kentucky, if I can be honest. So I want Cal to have that moment, that Final Four, and then right off to the sunset.
Yeah.
But what we got now ain't it, man.
That's it. So we knew this would be this kind of show.
Oh yeah.
Had to lick the wounds, and appreciate you being here and going on the soapbox and just working through it. We had big things Kentucky guys on, talk a little basketball with those guys. Appreciate everything they do. Brad Harvey, College Sportscast. That's him in the comments thanking us for
we
having
appreciate
him
it.
on. and Randy Newman, Big Blue Express, and everybody that put in comments, everybody that's watching right now on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Definitely appreciate it. We do this every Wednesday for the most part. Every now and then we'll take us a little break, take us a little evening off, but we'll be back next Wednesday. So y'all feel free to subscribe on the YouTube channel, follow on Facebook when we go live. Every episode's on Spotify. If you're just able to listen and get the audio there. So appreciate y'all jumping in with the comments as well. Made for a fun show. Everybody's comments, some new people bringing comments in. Kenneth and Carl Holiday and everybody else. If I missed some, I apologize. But we'll keep up. Like you said, baseball Cats are 5-1 in the SEC. You mentioned gymnastics.
Yeah.
Remember all the other sports that are doing big things. Kenny Brooks presser tomorrow. So
yeah, track programs are top 25. So we doing all right.
Yeah,
in Kentucky. But I understand men's basketball drives the bus. But still all Cats everything, baby.
That's right. So spring practice going on, blue-white games in a couple of weeks. So all kind of stuff popping off right now. Everybody enjoy the rest of the evening. Enjoy the warm weather. If you got spring weather, enjoy it. TB.
32 degrees, but we are.
Oh, sorry, man. My bad.
We had snow the other day.
Goodness gracious.
Friday morning. So Saturday night after the game, I woke up mad anyway. And I go let the dog out. And I'm like, it's snowing. This is great. This is great. Wow. So
goodness gracious. And I gotta say, I mentioned the Black Bears and stuff at the beginning, going down to the Sweet 16. Got to see Coach Hurt from the KY Sports guys. Got to meet him in person. They've been on the show forever, and had us on with them. And both of us been doing our podcasts and shows on Wednesdays. So cool to meet Coach Hurt and chop it up with him. It was halftime. Popped over there to where his section was, and all these people we've been doing this stuff with and been talking to for years. We couldn't even see them. Now we got the video as well. So get to meet a few folks in person. So that was cool to see Coach Hurt, man. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it, man. Enjoyed it. TB, this was, it was fun as it could be, considering we got bounced in the first round. And we'll be back next week to keep it on going and moving on.
We'll do it again.
Stuff. Oh, Michelle gonna do you dirty. Last comment of the night. Well, first of all, Michelle says awesome show. And then she says it's 73 degrees in Phoenix. Lord have mercy.
It's still cold out here, man.
Oh, man. Come on, Iowa. Get some warm weather.
That's right.
Been another episode of Cat Talk Wednesday. We're going to hop off of here. Appreciate everybody once again. Appreciate you, TB. We'll see everybody next week. Appreciate y'all watching. Catch it on Roku on the BS3 network.